Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for WLBT Plus. My name is Cara Shirley, your digital news desk host, and I have a very special guest with me today, talking straight from the Mississippi Delta. On the Mississippi Delta, he's a farmer. He's a restaurant owner. He is a uh, a writer, an author. He is a former justice court judge. His name is Stafford Shurden. Sheridan, how are
Good.
you doing
I'm
today?
good. It's good to be here.
I'm so excited to have you on. It's crazy if you can't really name all of the things you've done because we'd be talking about it forever, really, with everything that you have underneath your belt. Oh, and also he reviews gas station food.
Yeah, that's the hobby that everybody knows about. It's funny all the stuff I've done in my career, but everybody knows about the gas station thing. I
Yeah,
was in Birmingham, Alabama yesterday. Jay Bradley's probably watching at his event there in Birmingham, and people knew me from the gas station thing,
from the
which was
gas
funny. Yeah.
stations. But he is joining me today. So tell us, for those or those who may be watching who are not familiar with you, just kind of introduce yourself a little bit to us.
So I grew up on a cotton farm in Drew, Mississippi, and most people in Mississippi know what that means. That means I grew up with a hoe in the hands and still have cow's hands.
Mm-hmm.
That really is my background, and it was always, my friend Robert St. John always talks about his 5 F's, but I have my F's too. It was always faith, family, farming, and food. Those are the things I was always around. So it's not an accident that I end up being a kind of a food. I don't like saying critic because I'm really not critical,
Yeah.
but a food reviewer on social media. But I also own the restaurant, and my grandmother kind of had a big influence on me growing up, cooking
Mm-hmm.
for guys on the farm and going over to her house. So got kind of fell in love with food and then opened a restaurant in Drew
And
about
what kind?
20 years ago.
20 years. What kind
20.
of restaurant do you have there?
So it's 65% of our business are like blue plate specials.
Mm-hmm.
We just won Best Blue Plate in Mississippi in Mississippi Magazine and Best Fried Chicken. Like
Really?
it was in like last month this year, month before last.
Okay, see, fried chicken is my absolute favorite food.
We're good at it.
Absolute. Like, if you want to wine and dine me, bring me a bucket of chicken. Don't cook me a steak
It's
or anything like
probably my
that.
favorite thing. It's one of the things I remember my grandmother cooking for me. And then there's all these other places, when we would eat lunch every day at Sullivan's Barbecue in Drew. Every Wednesday she did fried chicken, and then Sunday lunch was always fried chicken. So my grandmother, if I went over and mowed her yard, I didn't get paid, but she would very likely fried some chicken, so I'd get paid in fried chicken. So I feel the same way, and there's a lot of good fried chicken in Mississippi.
Yes, there
It
is.
really is.
Yes, there is. Well, how do you go from being a farmer, a restaurant owner, to being a justice court judge?
So kind of a sad part of my story. My dad retired from farming in 1999, and so I started farming. He got really bored really quick,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of funny because the justice court judge before him was a farmer. The justice court judge before him was a farmer, and the justice court judge then was retiring, and he came to my dad and he said, you don't have anything else to. I think you'd be a good justice court judge. So my dad ran for it, and 6 months later he was diagnosed with cancer,
Mm-hmm.
lived 2 more years, and the board of supervisors there in Sunflower County appointed me to it. And they actually came to me, and at first I said no, I don't want it. I mean, it was like 3 days after the funeral. I
Wow.
was not really, that was not on my mind. And Barry Bryant, he'll probably watch this too, but Barry Bryant, he was kind of adamant about it. He said, "Look, you don't have to run for it. We'll just appoint you, and then in November somebody else will have it."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Well, I'm not coming to the meeting. Y'all do it. I'm not even going to come." And they ended up appointing me, and he said, we kind of had a discussion. We think he'd be pretty good at it, and so I just jumped in feet first and ended up running for it 4 times after that. So I
Wow.
went through 4 elections, and when I ran the last time, I kind of knew, and you and I had a discussion before. I thought that I liked politics until I was in the middle of it, and I was like, yeah, it's kind of like the old line about seeing the sausage being made,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't in my. I mean, that position really wasn't in my nature. So
Yeah.
so I was ready to give it up at that point.
And so you retired from being the judge in 2019,
Yes.
just
So
before COVID.
2019, when those elections came in, I did not run.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't. My earpiece is messing with me. I'm sorry. It came undone. So you retired from being a justice court judge, and you decided, hey, I'll start reviewing gas station food now?
Well, and I say we because I have a team at the restaurant, and you're talking about a little bitty restaurant in a very small town. Marketing is very difficult. We were talking about your background in radio, and there's no radio station there, so you're
Mm-hmm.
advertising 2 towns over if you're on the radio. Same thing with newspaper, and yeah, I want those people to drive. I want you guys to drive through, right? But I thought, well, what's a way that I could use social media? Because I had used social media the first time I ran for judge. No social media didn't really. I mean, there was MySpace.
Yeah.
That goes back that
Oh,
far.
what?
So pre
Hold
I
on.
so I'm running an '06, which is pre iPhone,
Yeah. Oh.
and so and judges can't take money from people to run either.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm spending my own money. By the last time I ran 100% of my campaign door to door and social media marketing. And I was like, okay, there's something here that I can use that skill for my restaurant. And we had talked about the different things we could do and kind of play with some stuff. But when you're an elected judge, there's some limitations there.
Right. Yeah.
Can I be stupid eating chicken off the tailgate of a truck? Maybe not, And so it was one of those things we had talked about doing different things as an advertisement for the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
So the more attention you get, I mean, people and money both follow attention. And then after I decided not to run in 2019, we were like, okay, I was originally going to review just fried chicken. That really was the original idea. And we made a list, and every one of them was gas stations except for Gus's in South Haven. And I was like, maybe I should just be reviewing gas station food. And just on a whim one day, my daughter and I are driving to Indianola, and we stop at the very first Double Quick. A lot of people in Mississippi know about Double Quick, which they also have really great fried chicken. And so Double Quick #1 is the first episode. I was not prepared for it to be seen by a lot of people.
Yeah.
I looked kind of homeless in that video. and I didn't really know what I was doing. The camera's way too far away, a lot of different things. And immediately people are calling me, so how long have you been doing these, reviews from the tailgate truck? I was like, that's the first one.
First one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so are all of them like from the tailgate of your truck?
All of them are from the tailgate of my truck. And it is we call it the gas station tailgate review. And I started out just saying, I'm going to do like a 30-mile radius of home. Well, you run out of gas stations pretty fast when you do that. And then I came to Jackson, and I was on a couple radio shows here and got some good advice of places to go here in Jackson. And the next thing I know, I'm on the Gulf Coast. And then the next thing you know, I'm filming in Key West from my truck getting hit on camera. We had a car accident on camera. That's a fun episode.
Oh, my gosh.
So my oldest daughter and I drove all the way 1,100 miles from my house to Key West. We drove down there, and we did a fried chicken review in Key West.
1,100 miles for fried chicken.
Well, we made a whole trip out of it, and we stopped a lot of different places. But yeah, that was an interesting. And it was a nice father-daughter trip. You know what I mean? Like she's a big diver, so I said, well, let's drive to Key West and go diving, and then on the way back we'll hit all these gas stations. I have a big list,
Yeah. That is so cool. And so you doing all of these gas station reviews. What is I know you've done one here. Look, we've got my friend Angela from the Mike magazine. She's from up there in the Delta.
Oh yeah,
area.
Greenville. I see that. Yeah.
And she says Double Quick gizzards get me going every time.
So most people, it's funny, most people are gizzards or fried livers, but they're not both. Most people are. I'm a livers guy. So I like the
could do
livers
both.
better.
And sometimes that's one of them things where you almost, for me at least, where you're almost kind of embarrassed to say you like them because people go, oh, so much. But I'm like, but I like them.
I have a great story about reviewing a place in what they call the Land Between the Lakes, which is in northern Tennessee, almost in Kentucky. The Kentucky Lakes, 2 lakes right there. One of them's Kentucky Lake. So you're on kind of this peninsula. And a lot of people said, you need to go here. There's a Shell station. They have the best fried chicken livers. And the lady in front of me orders 5 pounds of chicken livers.
Wow.
And so they're like, well, we don't have 5 pounds. She said, well, I'll just buy all you have. So I drove all the way there.
For nothing.
And I ended up eating fried chicken. It was pretty good. Dover, Tennessee is where that was. But yeah, there's a lot of funny stories like that.
So you have one place here in the Jackson metro area that you have reviewed, and it really had a big impact on the business.
It did.
Tell us about it.
So LNA Food Mart and I get in trouble if I don't say it's in Brandon. It is not in Jackson for my Brandon friends, but for those that are not in it's in the Jackson area, and you couldn't even find it really on Google search when I started looking for it. But a chef friend of mine recommended it and said they have really good smoked pork chops and ribs. And it's not a competition style rib. It's more of a fall off the bone, depending on what you like. Everybody likes something different. But I gave it a great review, and that for whatever reason that one really did well.
Yeah, and you said the owner of the place.
The owners I had some comments in there that said we went by today and he was out, and he said my business has tripled since that review came out. I don't know if that's still the case. This is a couple months back.
Yeah. But that is awesome.
Yeah.
And it really does show the power of social media
Well,
and
it
doing
does.
stuff out there. Because, I mean, you reach people literally from all over.
It's very democratic. It's and the gas, and that's the thing I like about gas stations. Even if you go back 40 or 50 years when there was a lot of racial issues, the gas station was like the most democratic place. And social media is kind of that same way. Everybody's there.
Yeah.
And it is. I own a restaurant, so I don't do bad reviews. So I love finding those places that even Google really doesn't know about, and giving them a little spotlight, because I know how it's hard when you're in a small community, 1,700 people in Drew. The only thing anybody knows about Drew is Archie Manning.
Yeah.
That's why I wear my Archie of Drew shirt all the time. And
Okay, see, now I know it. I was like, what does that mean?
yep, Archie Manning, and it's tough to market in a small town. And so if I can shed a little light on some of those places that I know are going through the same stuff I'm going through, it's kind of cool to do that.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about your book now, because you have a book that's coming out in just a few weeks.
Yes.
And it's called Meat and Three. Which
Yes.
I love the play on words, because as a matter of fact, let me show you guys the cover of the book here. This is the cover of the book, Meat and Three. So I love the play on words.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that.
I've got a great story about that cover too.
Well, before
Yeah.
let's talk about the book, and then I want you to tell me the
Okay.
story on the cover. So, what is Meat and Three about?
So originally it was going to be MEAT. So it was just going to be, I have a business coach in Nashville, Tennessee who's like, you need to write a book, and kind of a business card book. And a lot of people do that. And I started out trying to decide what I was going to write about, and it ended up being more of a memoir about growing up in the Mississippi Delta in the 70s and 80s. It's very Gen X in a lot of ways. There's a lot of great stories about the stuff we should have gotten in trouble for, but we didn't, that you couldn't do today, like riding around at night throwing firecrackers at people and shooting Roman candles.
Not that you ever did that.
Oh, I totally did that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's totally true.
We do not condone that.
Yeah, we don't condone
No.
that. That's not good to do that today. But so a lot of people my age will definitely recognize some of that kind of stuff. I mean, the camping out, if you're my age, you know what camping out
Yeah.
means. And so we went camping and all that. So growing up and just being wild boys in the Mississippi Delta and having all that pre-iPhone freedom, and then that coupled with, I was adopted. My parents didn't get me till I was 6 weeks old. So, and I knew that at an early age. And that really had a lot to do with shaping me. So I was very thankful for the family that adopted me, the Shurden family that adopted me. So it's, there are really only two stories you can tell. You can tell the struggles you overcame, or, it's always about past. Or you can tell some story that honors your past. And so really for me, it was about honoring that upbringing that I had in Mississippi, because I love Mississippi. I know people talk down on it and all that. I love it. I love what it, we're in a lot better place than we were 50 years ago when I was born. And, but it was a great place to grow up. The Delta was a fun place. Still is.
And you hear so much. You think of the Mississippi Delta, and it brings to mind people so poor and nothing there, and it's just a bunch of flat land, and
It's
all,
all of
this
those things are
stuff.
true. Like that, so it's true, but it's also, there's a reason there's a Grammy Museum in Cleveland. It's also home to some of the greatest art, authors, music. And why is that? Because it's only been, there's only been a Delta for 100 years. We were talking about Wright Thompson, who wrote the foreword for the book for me. And one of the great points he makes in the barn is that, you go back pre-1900, there was nothing but wilderness there. That's the last settled land in America. and the most storied. Now, how's that possible? And I don't know that I have the answer to it. But the book, ended up coming out to be about connection, because you're connected to the land. You're so connected to the people that you live around. And that's why we changed the play on words to meet in three, MEET, because it really was. It was about connection and, the stuff we did growing up and the freedom that we had because of that place.
Yeah. It's I love it's beautiful. Angela said, "No lies detected. It's flat.
It is flat.
And she also said the Delta is awesome. We get creative, and maybe people have to be so creative there because it is so flat."
Well, I think that it's, we're all storytellers in the Delta in a way. Everybody, you come to my restaurant and sit down at one of we call them community tables, and Chance Robinson will be in there holding court. We say, just that, and all the guys will be in there storytelling, and it's just such a natural thing, I think, to be from there and write a book, and for so many authors to come from Clarksdale, like right. Tennessee Williams, spent all that time in Clarksdale and wrote some of his plays. A lot of his characters are based off people from Clarksdale. I mean, there's William Faulkner. William Faulkner's brother wrote a book called Dollar Cotton, by the way, and he was living in Webb, Mississippi, and he got the idea for that book.
Yeah.
Which is a great book. A lot of people don't know about. But we didn't have anything else to do but tell stories. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why you had to get creative.
Yeah.
You had to make stuff happen. So tell us about the cover and the story behind the cover of the book.
So the cover of the book, that is my soybean field. So we literally went out in a soybean field and put that table out there. The tablecloth, my grandmother knitted that for me and my wife for our wedding present.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah. Did not finish before she passed away. And my mom had somebody else finish it so it would be complete. And, of course, a lot of people recognize the McCarty's pottery there. Mr. McCarty was from Drew originally and ended up in Marigold, which is just a couple miles away. And then, of course, the rice in there is my neighbor's rice that's grown not far from where it's sitting, which is kind of cool. So there's a lot of little inside things that people that not from Mississippi won't understand. But if you're from Mississippi, that's like the most Delta thing ever right there. And I had an actual photo with just the table that I took. Roy Doyle took those pictures, by the way. But I had one I took before we got there, and we had the table all set up. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. It's cool. Sun's just coming up. And we really considered just using that without me in it. And ended up using me, and I kind of wish I had just done it without me on the cover, because I say enough of me.
But people need to know that is your book.
It's a double-edged sword, So, yeah, it will probably sell some just because they'll say, oh, I know that guy.
So I want to say the first thing that I noticed when I saw this cover is that there's no ice in that tea.
So the reason we did that, all right, this is totally, no, y'all don't tell anybody what I'm about to say. That's not even tea.
Oh.
No, we could not find any tea that we had made up, because every day I don't drink it at home because I have kidney stones. So bad. I love sweet tea, by the way.
My husband would not be able to live like that.
And yeah, it was not good. And so we poured out every day at the restaurant, so we didn't save any. And my wife says, I have this coffee, but we didn't put ice in it because it was so hot and humid that it was just going to melt, and the tablecloth that you see would have been just soaked.
Wet.
And it would have been all, it would have been weird looking. We thought about going in and digitally adding some ice, because that is the number one comment about that.
Okay,
yes,
good.
Everybody sees it.
I don't feel
Mississippians
so
know. We know better.
We know.
Yeah.
You got to have ice in that tea.
Because we had that discussion, and he was like, "Don't put ice in it because it'll sweat and the table will be wet and won't look right."
See, I'm glad that makes me feel like I'm not
but it's
so
coffee,
judgmental.
so yeah.
So you mostly review chicken or fried chicken.
So now it's anything at a gas station, and I really hadn't done a lot of chicken lately. I've done gas station sushi a couple of times, actually. I went in one place and I was like,
that's brave.
I went like, no, I'm not doing this. but there's a place called Biofresh Seafood in Jasper, Alabama, that was on John T. Edge, who's from Oxford, has a show called True South on ESPN, and they actually did an episode at that. I mean, it's that good that ESPN did a whole TV show about Jasper, Alabama, and 2 gas stations. One of them was Biofresh Seafood. And you go in, and it's like they've got a whole counter there, and you see the fresh seafood, and they make it right there in front of you.
Okay.
And then there was a place on Poplar in Memphis, and it was a Japanese guy that just had a little corner in that gas station, and he was rolling sushi. But he's gone now. I don't know what happened to him, but it was really good. I was totally surprised by that.
So where was the last place that you
So
did?
there's a place right outside of Grenada's, the last place I went. Old Corner Store, I think's the name of it. It's
Hmm.
been closed for a while, just opened back up, so they're kind of new. When I went, lunch was totally sold out. I ended up getting a burger because they say the plate lunch is really good, but I didn't get to have one. But that was kind of a fun spot.
Yeah, and has that one been published yet
It
or no?
has. It's been published, and then before that, I was in Texas and hit up all the. We were in Dallas, so I hit up all the taco places. So there's a lot of great tacos in Dallas.
Tell us, how has the attention from social media and doing the reviews, how has it changed your life? What are things that are
Well,
now before you that
I
weren't?
always wanted to write a book, but I don't think I would have without this. I have met a lot of really cool people because of that. It's I don't know. It's kind of weird. It is weird to go places and people recognize you from it, but I have friends I don't think I would have had otherwise. Ben Naper's become a really close friend of mine. We were talking about Wright Thompson a little while ago,
Mhm.
and it has definitely opened doors that I don't even know how to explain it. I really I don't want to be an influencer so much. I just know that if people watch my show, there's a bigger chance that I may get to meet you
Mhm.
or who
Which is
knows
really
what
the highlight of your day.
highlight of my day, and who know I mean, but really who knows what comes because I'm an entrepreneur, kind of a serial entrepreneur first and foremost,
Hmm.
and so I know that you have to have if you're an entrepreneur, you understand this. You have to have movement,
Yes.
and this is a thing I take so little of my time with, but get so much more exposure, and it's funny. We were talking about Robert St. John. I was a fanboy getting the book signed, you know, 15 years ago, and then he was on my podcast, probably because he wouldn't have known who I was without that. So
Hmm.
it's been fun.
I, Speaking of Robert St.
Yeah.
John, where Sheridan and I we met
Yep.
was at the event that they had down in Hattiesburg for their extra
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 table. I
table.
meant to tell you this. So the rice on the table
Uh huh.
is the same rice.
See, I was going to ask you
Yes.
that.
So
I was
Mike
going to ask you
Wagner, who's a really good friend of mine, he owns Two Brooks Farms. It's a wonderful Mississippi product. It's not just long grain rice. We use the Mismati, which is basmati rice. He
that.
calls it Miss because we're in Mississippi.
Ah.
So he's very clever, and his son and daughter are involved in that as well. But Mike's a good friend and just a good guy. He donates all that rice to feed
Yeah.
Extra Table. I
Extra
was going to
table,
say
yeah.
feed your table.
So
Extra Table, and it was just what a great day that was.
it was so much fun.
Yeah.
The highlight of my day that day was when I made some random little joke about in the bourbon tasting. I had gum in my mouth, and I said, if you taste it with the gum in your mouth, you can have some later."
Yeah, and I'm not a big bourbon drinker. Well, I'm not a big drinker. Period.
Hmm.
And I used to own a bar, so that's a restaurant and bar. But I did a lot of drinking then. But yeah, I drank the bourbon that day. I was
Yeah.
like, yeah,
It was pretty good.
it was that it was. I left the most impressed with Martha
Yes.
that runs Extra Table,
Hmm.
and I was like, where did and come to find out, I got to talking to her mom, and her mom's a Clark from Drew, Mississippi. So it's hard to get away. A wise guy told me one time, you can take the boy out of Drew, but you never take Drew out of the boy. And I run into so many Drew people
Hmm.
everywhere I go. Somebody's got a Drew connection, mom, cousin, father, uncle, somebody from Drew.
Well, I know doing this and getting to be a part of that event and then talking to a lot of other people who social media influencers have gotten big followings on Facebook, TikTok, all of this stuff. And I did not realize how many people had made it quote unquote big on social media that are from right here in the Jackson metro
Yeah.
area or from Mississippi. And I mean, it's people have millions of followers
Yeah.
and have this huge influence
Yep.
over so many people. And they're from right here in our state.
Yeah, I think about Jackson. I always think of Brett, Papa Mississippi,
Mm-hmm.
who is such a good guy and not originally from Mississippi. And I don't know. Again, I'm from the Delta. Outside looking into Jackson, I feel like it. However Jackson goes, so goes the state.
Mm-hmm.
but I do see there's some little inkling that Jackson is poised for something better in the future, maybe, and I think he sees that as an outsider better than probably we can see it.
Right.
And I feel like I'm an outsider as far as Jackson goes, but it's different than it was even 4 or 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter's going to be here in Belhaven, in we're moving in August 14th, Belhaven, and my other daughter graduated Mississippi State Architecture, and her last year was here, and she lived in Belhaven area, and I was like, yeah, Jackson's not what they say it is in the rest of the state.
No, it's not.
And he's done such a good job, I think, in promoting. And I love Kirk Fordyce used to say only positive Mississippi spoken here. So that's kind of my rule on my page. I only say positive stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got Brett, Papa Mississippi, came on my show a while back, and that was one of the things we talked about is how being that outside of Mississippi person, you almost tend to appreciate what is here more than someone.
Well,
just like someone who lives in the mountains forgets of the beauty of the mountains.
Well, you can't see the forest for the trees sometimes.
Right.
And yeah, he's a great cheerleader. Robert, we were talking about Robert a while ago. Robert St. John's a great cheerleader from Mississippi. I try to be that. And I do. I love the state. Yeah, we got our problems. I'm not gonna like pretend like they don't exist, but you know, what you focus on gets attention, and if you're focused on only bad stuff, that you're only gonna think bad stuff about your state. So I do go. There are good things that we need to be focused on, and maybe it's gas station food sometimes.
Maybe it's gas station food. I want to go back to also to Extra Table. Just kind of explain to anybody who may be watching not know what it is. Extra Table is a nonprofit that they're based out of Hattiesburg, but it was started by Robert St. John, who is a restaurant owner and author, very big in the food world.
Yes.
I guess. And he started this nonprofit, and what they do is they provide healthy, nutritious, shelf-stable food for food pantries all across the state of Mississippi. Their goal is to get into all of the counties. I think they're in just over 60.
Yeah,
now.
it's 50-something maybe, but they're not, because 82 counties in Mississippi, they're not quite in all of them. But yeah, they're trying to get to everybody.
But that is their goal, and so they are, like I said, they're out of Hattiesburg, but they even provide food for pantries here in the Jackson metro area at no cost to the food pantries.
Yeah, he said, and I know you remember this, but one of the things that Robert and them had to fight was you've got the food bank, which is what they are, and then you've got pantries, which distribute the food to the people. And most food banks, for a lot of different reasons, have to charge these pantries. Well, they don't charge the pantries. And they also, so I asked Robert, I was like, well, Robert, what do you guys really need? What do we need to do for you? Because y'all are doing a good thing here. He said, we really need money because we don't want to take the donation of Twinkies from Hostess because that's not helping the problem.
Right.
We want to buy, like you said, shelf-stable, healthy things. And so the thing is they need money. And the cool thing about it is 100% of what they collect goes to buying food. And they can buy cheaper. I don't know if you remember this, but if you went to the grocery store and filled a basket up, they could take that same money and fill 3 baskets up because they're hooked in now with wholesalers.
Right.
So it's such a great program. And they do such a fantastic. We were talking about Martha. She's just taking that thing from Robert and blown it up. And what they accomplish with their money, I don't think anybody in Mississippi does a better job.
And then it's run by Mississippians for Mississippians. A lot of the food, like the rice that, let me show the video, the cover right here, the rice in that bowl on his table there, the cover of his book, is from a farm in Mississippi, and that rice goes to this the food bank Extra Table, and so it is Mississippi product that they use to
Mississippians
serve
feeding Mississippians.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. But that is Extra Table. So you guys know what that's about. But that's where we met at an event down there, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun getting to do that and to meet extra people like you, and I said extra people, people like you. So let's go back real quick to the food reviews and to the fried chicken. We know that your restaurant was best fried chicken in Mississippi.
Yeah, Mississippi Magazine has a thing every year, so it's voted on. And like, I'll be 100% honest with everybody. I know having that social media reach helped with that. So when that came out, people recognized my name. I got nominated, and then they recognized me, and that helped. But we do have pretty good fried chicken. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, can you say who is the best gas station fried chicken in Mississippi?
So best gas station, I'll tell you some really good ones. It's hard to say the best, but a really good one is Mr. Jiffy in Batesville, Mississippi. They do a fantastic job. They've been there forever. There's actually 3 stores in Batesville and 1 in Charleston, Mississippi. They do a great job. Double Quick is like, don't sleep on Double Quick. I know they're a chain, but their fried chicken is really good. And trying to think of some other good ones. Like one that I was going to say closed. Several of them have gone into full service locations, because there was one in Tupelo called King Chicken. And after COVID, they quit selling gas, and now they're in a full service restaurant. But King
Wow.
Chicken's still really good chicken.
Really good
Yeah.
chicken. I have to go check it out. I'm a simple. I'm not gonna say the name of it, but it is a chain restaurant that is my favorite fried chicken. But you know, Cajun. If that
Are you a
tells anything.
Popeyes girl?
Yeah.
So,
I wasn't gonna say.
my wife is a Popeyes girl. That's what she said. She says, "Baby, you know I'm a Popeyes girl."
Look, I am. I'm a sucker for a box of fried chicken. That's just the truth.
I went to New Orleans and did a bunch of places in New Orleans, and obviously y'all already know it's great food in New Orleans. So there's Brothers Food Mart that supposedly has some of the best fried chicken in New Orleans. It was not as good as Popeyes, I didn't think. So for comparing to Popeyes, but there's a place called Keys Food Mart. It's not far from downtown, and it is like, when you look at it, you're going to be like, it doesn't look safe, which nothing in New Orleans looks safe, but it's really, really good fried chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's some other great places in New Orleans too, but for the fried chicken, it's hard to beat Keys Fuel Mart, and they're open to like 2 in the morning too. It's frying chicken.
I like to say I go down to New Orleans a lot to for cruises to sail out of New Orleans.
Yeah.
I may have to check it out next time. I'll be down there.
Yeah,
the
it's
next month.
Keys Fuel Mart. A lot of people, you pass not far from it. A lot of people going into downtown will kind of turn in that area. But yeah, there's some good. There's some great food in New Orleans. It's trying to think. There's one that banh mi boys. So it's like Vietnamese banh mi sandwiches, but it's kind of got this New Orleans twist. So it's got different stuff on it, and that's in a gas station in New Orleans. It's really good.
Wow. So much. I would have never thought of these gas stations having this amazing, food. I mean, granted, I know there's a lot that has really good food. I have a couple of places that I stop at that I love.
Yeah.
But I just would have never thought it being this widespread.
So some of it, there's a lot of reasons for it, I think. One thing that ends up happening in towns like where I live, Algoma Country Store up in outside of Pontotoc, and they actually have a really nice restaurant, seafood restaurant there too. In Algoma's like 300 people. But generally speaking, a town that size, the gas station is the only thing they have. I went in one place, and that it was the post office. They had one of those little library things where you could exchange the books in there, and then you could get a burger there, and the cows were living behind the
Literally
gas
fresh
station.
burgers.
Yeah, literally fresh burgers. I didn't know that. I got a big sandwich. That was a Big Level store down in Stone County, I think. But yeah, you get to these little towns, sometimes it is everything. It's the grocery store. It's the meat market in a lot of cases. And there's a lot of those in Mississippi. But the other thing I find in bigger towns, what it is so hard to get a loan for a restaurant. You have some actual chefs that go out and like, I can get a loan for a gas station and sell food out of it. So there's a lot of kind of cool places got started that way. Joe's in Kansas City, which is Joe's Kansas City Barbecue now, or Kansas City Joe's, I think they changed the name, is probably, in my opinion, the best barbecue. I'm a Memphis-style guy, but in Kansas City, it's probably the best barbecue there. It's in a working gas station.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And most people, Anthony Bourdain would say that's the best barbecue in
That is
Kansas
so cool.
City. Yeah.
That's so cool. Well, for those people who are tuning in right now, tell them how they can follow you and follow your tailgate. Say it again.
The gas station tailgate review.
Yeah.
Whatever social media you're on, just type my name in. You can even just Google my name and you'll find it. But I'm on YouTube, TikTok, all that stuff. Stafford Shurden. So that's the easiest way to find me.
And your book, when does your book come out, and how can people get the book?
So we're going to do a big book release event. I'm going to break the rules because they told me not to give the date yet. They said wait to 10 days out to give the actual date, but I'm going to tell you, Jeff,
We
for
have
our close
the
friends here.
exclusive.
Yeah, this is an exclusive. It's going to be August 28th, and we're going to do an online event.
Mm-hmm.
And this combination of self-publishing, and I have a publisher too. So they're trying to help me get, and this is again just like social media. You got to beat the algorithms to get a bestseller out of it, and then I can get in like your local bookstore. But you'll be able to go. They'll be able to order the book if you have a local bookstore
Mm-hmm.
through Ingram Spark. You can go and they can order it through them.
Okay.
But it'll be on Amazon August 28th. We're at 6 o'clock. If you follow me, I'll be posting the link to that. We're gonna have a big party online. Everybody's
Yeah.
gonna buy the book at one time. That's the goal.
Let's sell it out.
Yeah, let's sell a few copies.
Yeah. Well, I'm so thankful for you coming down and coming to see me. Are you going to any gas stations today?
I've got to go home. We're watering beans, and I left my nephew in charge, John Williams, running the show right now. So we got some stuff to do. So unfortunately, I may swing by L&A Food Mart though, and just see what's going on there because I hadn't eaten lunch. But yeah, and it's a weird world I'm living in right now.
I fully understand that. It's crazy the path that life will take you on sometimes.
Yes, it is.
Just follow the path and make the best of it.
I never thought that because I'll say that I don't know how much time we got, but everybody knows WLBT. And I'm like, I saw gas station food got me on WLBT. That's kind of funny to me.
Well, I'm glad that you are.
And I didn't go to prison or something like that.
No.
And that didn't get me on,
Even though he did some crazy things.
Nothing, no felonies. I hadn't committed any felonies I know of.
Well, Stafford, thank you so much for coming down and spending some time with us here on WLBT Plus. Let him get back so he can water the beans today.
Yeah.
Go. But again, thank you. Make sure you follow him on all the social media platforms. Make sure you are a part of his book release on the 28th of August, right? 28th of August. And then make sure that you are doing your part to support Mississippi farmers because they need the support.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting couple of years.
Yeah. But if we, as Mississippians, if we get behind our Mississippi farmers, maybe we can make it a little easier for you guys.
Thank you.
But I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed having you. That is it for WLBT Plus. Today, our First Alert weather team will be here in just a little bit to give you the details on your forecast, and I will be back on Monday. I hope you all have a great day, a safe weekend, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.